In this episode of Becoming a Broker, we're going to be looking at the top 5 skills every mortgage broker needs, in my opinion, obviously. It's not the exact skills every need, but it's what I think from working with many mortgage brokers over the years. I think that these are the 5 skills that if you're thinking about becoming a mortgage broker or a mortgage advisor and getting into this industry, these are the things that you need to be aware of. And if you haven't got these skills, you can start working on them now in order to be good at it. And if you have got them, winner, because this is going to be a really great career choice for you. Let's dive into it. The first one we have is people skills. So as a broker, you are going to be spending a lot of time with people, like a lot of time with people, more than you could probably expect, because the vast majority of your time is going to be sat in front of first-time buyers, home movers, landlords, people who you are wanting to learn all about their situation and their life and what it is they're trying to do. And so you've got to have good people skills to be able to get the right information out of them, and also to be able to have enough conversations with them that they want to work with you, that they like you. Okay, so if you're somebody that is not massively confident with people, not a big talker, not somebody who's overly sociable, I'm actually an introvert, so that's fine. And I still thrived in this job, but I have good people skills. So having good people skills is going to take you forward, is going to make you very successful. It's not actually a numbers analytical business. I think many people think I'll become a mortgage broker because I'm good with numbers, or it's not that big, that at all. That's really more of an accountant type role, that you're going to be doing the numbers. With mortgages, you are really the product, you yourself. So it's people are buying from you and they want to know and trust you. So you have to be very good at getting that across. So people skills is the first one. The second one you have is sales skills. So it is a sales role. And no matter where you are, obviously, if you're in a bank, it's going to be less salesy than if you are in a employed role within an estate agency. And if you're on your own self-employed, it's going to be even more salesy. So you need to understand sales skills. Basic sales skills is going to be needed, paramount. Now, as you get better at this, or if you want to pursue your career even further, the better you get at sales, in other words, closing, so assumptive closing, direct closes, understanding different behavioral psychology techniques and how people do sell, persuasion, stuff like Dr. Robert Cialdini's book Influences, and a wonderful book, or The Way of the Wolf by Jordan Belfort, another really good book for sales. Understanding how people think and how they are going to perceive what it is you present to them is going to separate you from being average to very good, like exceptional top 1% advisor. That comes down to you knowing how to sell, because those are the people that are going to get higher insurance premiums, you're going to get higher conversions, you're going to get higher fees. And if you're in an employed role where you're given leads, for example, you're going to just get more business. You're going to get more business. And if you're a self-employed, you're going to close more deals and make more money for yourself. So it's a no-brainer. Sales skills is a must. It is a sales role. If sales makes you feel a bit sicky and uncomfortable, don't do this job, because it is a sales job. It's so important to point that out. It's a sales job. It is not an advisory kind of just a transactional job, like an administrative job. It is a sales role. I just have to stress it, because people, I think, look at it and think it's a license to print money. No, it's not. If you're good at selling, you'll make a lot of money. If you're not good at selling, you won't make any money. It's as simple as that. In fact, really, if you're good at all 5 of these, you'll make a lot of money. And if you're good at sales and maybe some people skills, you'll probably do all right. The other 3 are less necessary, but if you add those in, you're going to absolutely smash it. Which brings me on to the third one. Now, the third one is learning agility, meaning how fast can you learn something? Learning agility is probably one of the most underutilized skills, I would say, in the mortgage industry, because the ability for you to be able to adapt and learn new criteria is going to separate you from the pack massively. What you find a lot of the time within the industries is, so if you're thinking about getting into this space and you want to be the best, and I can imagine if you're listening to this podcast of Becoming a Broker, or you're watching this on YouTube and you found it on YouTube, this is going to be the type of thing that, because this episode is for people thinking about becoming a mortgage broker, then this is the type of stuff you need to be thinking about. And really, if you want to be the best, because that's the only reason you want to come into the industry, then get good at learning, get hungry at learning. You're going to be given, once you are qualified and you're now then working, you're going to be given information daily about new criteria changes, rate changes. You're going to have regulation changes. You're going to have local market news, local market stuff in regards to what's going on within your housing market, within the property market, within the government, within political stuff that affects the housing market. All of these things, you want to be good at it. You want to be really good at learning and make learning part of your everyday. The more you do that, by the way, you will thrive, like absolutely thrive, because 99%, I reckon, completely made up figure, by the way, but I believe you're probably going to find that 99% of brokers don't bother. And they only learn about new criteria when the case comes up that they need to deal with that criteria, and they're like, okay, we'll shop it around. Doesn't quite fit, then I'll find it. But actually, if you get good at becoming somebody who learns what's going on beforehand, you will get better and your life will be a lot easier because you'll be prepared. Brings me on to the fourth skill I think every mortgage broker should have. So if you're thinking about getting into the industry, this is what you need, and that is networking skills. You are going to be successful by the people you know, especially if you're employed or self-employed. If you're employed, it's a very small industry, and the more you network, the more opportunities are going to come up for you to potentially move to different firms, to get better roles, to move up into management. All of these things are going to be hinged on not what you know, but who. So networking, vital in the employed space. In the self-employed space, it is just as important, because in there, you're going to be networking with business owners and people within the area or within your niche, trying to be able to generate leads. The more people you work with there, the more opportunities you're going to have to generate income for your business. No brainer. So networking is great. If you're somebody who's a little bit nervous, so it goes to people skills, but people skills and networking are two very different things. I am incredibly good at one-to-one, speaking to people on a one-to-one level. Actually, really good. Like a bit of a machine at it. Networking, though, is something I had to learn how to do, because I'm not naturally somebody who's good at going out and pushing myself out there and meeting new people. I'm really good at, you put someone in front of me and I'll talk to them and be really friendly with them, but me having to go out and find them, not so great at the time. Fine with it now, but it was not easy and I had to learn how to do that. And so networking skills was one of the ones, definitely, for me, people skills is always there, sales skills is always there, learning agility I'm always been very good at. But these two here, networking skills, probably the hardest one was networking skills for me. But if you get that in line and you put it in place, once I started doing that, honestly, my career and my income completely just changed, completely. So as a mortgage broker, if you're considering becoming a broker, start learning the networking stuff. All of these skills are things you can be working on whilst doing your CMAPs or your CIIs or CMAP equivalents. You can be doing this in the background. And that brings me on to the fifth and final one, which is delayed gratification. It takes ages to become good as a broker, and it takes ages to be paid. So being good at delaying gratification, for waiting for if you don't need the result now, you can get an incredible result later. Because mortgage brokers, it takes a long time to get paid. Average mortgage case is going to take 3, maybe 6 months to complete. So let's say that right now, it's taken up to 6 months for some of these people to move into the house and complete. You oftentimes won't get paid until the property is completed. And it's usually a month after it's been completed. That's when the bank or the lender will send the money to you. So in some cases, you could be writing business and it could be 7 months before you actually get paid on that business. That's really important to understand, which means that the industry and the business you're in is a slow snowball that rolls. But as you start to add more and more into the fire, it will get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And that is exactly why delayed gratification is important. It's important in a self-employed role massively, but also important in an employed role. Because if you start to do this job, it doesn't really start to get great and start to pay out and become like really life-changing money in some cases until about 2 to 5 years in. If you're really good, you get that around 2 years. If you're not being as lucky and not being as, say, forthcoming, it can take about 5 years. But if you really go for it and delay that gratification and don't worry about what's coming next, you will smash that out of the park and your life can be completely different. I've been in the industry now for over a decade, and my life is unrecognizable to the naive, swatty-faced kid that started in the space at the time. Very different. But one of the underpinning things for me was once I realized it's going to be longer than I thought, and I just put the work in, huge. So if you're thinking you're going to get your qualification, you're going to go and get a job, and then all of a sudden you're off to the races and you're going to be rich, no, that will catch you out. But if you think I'm going to do it, I'm going to really go at this and suck for a long time and be okay with that, but if I keep going, I'm going to be good, you will be good. You will be good. That is today's episode, or this episode of Becoming a Broker. If you have enjoyed it, be sure to subscribe to the podcast wherever you are. And if you have a question for me, head over to Instagram, which is @AshBorland. You can drop me a DM there if you want to ask me it direct, or you can even put it in the comments here. I'd love that if you could on YouTube, if you're watching me on YouTube, and I'll happily answer it on the comments as well. And I will see you in the next episode. Bye.